Jaya Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna,
Oh Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare dance.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Namagyan Timidandasya Ganangana Shalakaya Chaksuna Militam Janatasmai Sigurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Shwayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. I must thank each and every devotee who spoke today. One of my disciples mentioned that I use this day to judge, or to observe rather, or to appreciate, let's say, how much advancement my disciples make when they speak. I can see that in your words and your realizations and your love and devotion. It touches the heart. You know, you could see there were some tears in my eyes. I'm not a very advanced devotee, but Prabhupada does say in Nectar Devotion that we should learn the art of crying in Krishna consciousness. And that comes initially when we just enjoy serving with our godbrothers and godsisters. We have our moments. There's that special kirtan, that special class, that special festival, that special Harinam. It just brings tears to our eyes. And after some years of serving our Guru and cleansing our hearts and learning to love and appreciate him, then tears also flow between Guru and disciple. And that's a sure sign that one day, O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. It's a process. Step 1, 2, and 3, and we're all works in progress. So thank you for that, for bringing these tears of love for you as my disciples. As you were crying for me, I was crying for you, because love's a two-way street, actually. And these are real sentiments. These are not crocodile tears. Crocodile tears mean a little girl, a little boy cries because they can't get their candy, and then mom sees them crying and she gives them. No, these are genuine tears of love, and that's the whole purpose of this movement. One of my godbrothers said one time, this Krishna conscious movement is a philosophy masquerading as love. It's really all about love. So thank you so much. And that these moments remind me of when I was with Srila Prabhupada, when myself and my godbrothers and godsisters with Srila Prabhupada, we also experienced these moments as well. And I was reading that, the other day I was reading in the Vrindavan Research Institute that there's two, there's two things that are very much celebrated in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. One is when there's the welcoming, and the other is the farewell. These are two events in the lives of devotees that are very much celebrated, especially after 3 years of separation. The welcoming is so sweet, and the farewell, because I have to leave in 2 days, that's also very painful for you, and it's more painful for me, because you're just going to miss one person. I'm going to miss 100 or 200 people. But I remember how this was so when, in the 1970s, we received Prabhupada in our temples. And I still feel the emotions of, having heard about Prabhupada and served his Sankirtan movement and distributed books for about a year, and then for the first time seeing him come to the temple. We were actually at the airport, the Detroit airport, and most of us had not seen Prabhupada yet. This was 1969 or 1970. And I remember the plane landed, and then Prabhupada got off the plane, and he walked in the tarmac up the stairs to where we all were. And there were maybe 500 or 600 devotees, but maybe more non-devotees just mesmerized by what was going on. And as soon as Prabhupada walked in, every devotee hit the floor and they were crying and crying and crying. And I remember looking at the non-devotees, they were stunned, what is this? But this is what happens, these relationships, Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava, they're meant to churn the ocean of the nectar of devotion and experience some love. So we don't have to wait too long. In each other's association, we can have these experiences. So they were very intense with Srila Prabhupada. Meeting him satisfied our intense desires to be with him again. And seeing him off increased our desire to see him again as soon as possible. And it was very powerful, of course, because Prabhupada was very much the center of our movement in those days because of his personal presence on the earth. And I remember New York, London, Paris. Those are seared in my heart. Nowadays, if you want to express something that's very dear to you, get a tattoo, some ink. I don't have any ink, but I have those memories seared in my consciousness, in my heart, and I visit them sometimes. And it reminds me of a poem that I read recently in the Vrindavan Research Institute. Some of you were referring to the fact that I spent a lot of time there, and I do. I'm like a bookworm. My mom was an intellectual, and I got bad grades, so she said, I'm a bookworm. What's wrong with you, son? Mom, I'm a bookworm, but it's Bhakti Shastras. And so I found one poem written by a disciple of Gauridas Pandit. His name was Krishna Das. Now, we all know Gauridas Pandit from our studies of Chaitanya Charitamrita, because Kaviraj Goswami writes about him in Adi Lila chapter 11, verse 26. He mentions this devotee, Gauridas Pandit. He writes, Gauridas Pandit Yanara Premo Dhanda Bhakti Krishna Prem Dite Nite Dara Mahashakti. Gauridas Pandit, the emblem of the most elevated devotional service and love of Godhead, had the greatest potency to receive and deliver love. So this exalted devotee, an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who Kaviraj Goswami takes the time to mention amongst the many members of Mahaprabhu's movement in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he had a disciple named Krishna Das. And he sent this disciple, Krishna Das, to Vrindavan when he was a teenager. This boy actually grew up worshipping Gauridas Pandit as his guru, just like I heard from some of the children, they're 5 or 6, Indradyumna Maharaj, you're my guru. And they actually mean it, and some of you used to say it when you were little girls or little boys, and now you're my disciple. So this boy Krishna Das, he grew up with his Guru Maharaj. And his Guru Maharaj said, you have done very nice service for me, now you go to Braj, and you serve the Brajbasis, and this way you'll understand what is pure devotional service. This boy just broke down crying. Guru Maharaj, I've been with you my whole life. Guru Maharaj said, you're just a teenager. No, but I don't want to go to Vrindavan. You go to Vrindavan. So, along with the instruction comes the ability to execute it. There's no our spiritual master will never give us an instruction which he feels is too difficult for us to execute. We may think it's very difficult. Go out and distribute books on Oxford Street. But along with the instruction comes the ability to fulfill it. So this boy, Krishna Das, he went. And some years later, he heard the news, and it wasn't 3 years, like the pandemic, it was more like 10 years. He heard the news that his Guru Maharaj, Gauridas Pandit, was going to come to Vrindavan. He had to do parikrama. His bliss knew no bounds. And he wrote a poem, beautiful poem, in anticipation of his Guru's arrival. And I can relate to it because I remember when Prabhupada would come, and I could see it in yourselves today that, when you saw my humble self, these sentiments of love were churned. So in Vrindavan, even today, Krishna Das's little poem is famous. It's called Guru Avni, Guru Avni, meaning the literally the coming or the welcoming of the Guru. So I'd like to share it with you, if I may, because we can relate. I can relate. You can relate. Oh, today, my dear Guru will come. When I hear the news of the arrival of my dearmost spiritual master, the happiness I feel cannot be described in words. Oh, friends, sing this song of happiness. Decorate the earth and sky. As soon, a palanquin carrying my Guru will arrive. The whole world would dance and sing his glories. Hey, bring the goddess of fortune to sweep the way for him. Call the king of elephants, Aravata, Indra's carrier, to sprinkle his way with water from his trunk. Oh, listen now. The birds are chirping, and the earth has become residence for angels. Oh, now the earth has become residence for angels. Blow the conch. Play the mridanga drums and trumpets louder to welcome the Lord of my heart. Just see, the demigods are showering flowers from their flower airplanes. Soon, I will welcome my Guru to reside within my heart. There was another poet that I came across. It's just so much nectar. There's 37,000 scriptures. And I've got carte blanche. Yeah, en français. I've got liberty to visit all these different rooms with all these different books and open them up. And I have someone to translate from the Sanskrit to English or Bengali to English. So I came across a poet named Swami. He was a disciple of Vallabhacharya, and he wrote, with a flood of love in my heart, with empty hands, begging for mercy, holding a straw in between my teeth, standing humbly and bowing my head down, with tears of hope in my eyes, I will receive my Guru and welcome him with a garland of my devotional desires. Perhaps these poets wrote, and that was 400 or 500 years ago, and no one's heard them since then. So we owe it to them, because this helps us understand our relationship with our spiritual masters. Our acharyas further researched, because I got really into it, how in those days disciples would receive their spiritual masters. And I'm thinking, next time I see Srila Prabhupada, having this knowledge, we'll receive him in the proper way. So acharyas also describe how to welcome one's guru or one's shiksha guru. Both are important. According to Kaviraj Goswami, he writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one may have one diksha guru initiating into the mantras, but one may have one or two or more shiksha gurus, specific persons who just their example or their teachings or what they've done in Krishna consciousness inspire us. I have godbrothers who I consider shiksha gurus, like Bibi Govinda Maharaj on one side, Shivaram Maharaj on another side, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I still feel he's present with me, behind me, pushing me forward and teaching me how to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. So we can have shiksha gurus. We may not formally accept them, but they're just as important because they give Vani instructions. So our acharyas describe how to welcome your guru, or even if it's just a senior devotee. Maybe it's the temple president who's coming to your house. So they write that when such saintly persons visit your home, particularly the grihastras, we shouldn't be shy, we shouldn't hold back. This is a movement of expressing our love on the transcendental platform. So they say, when this illustrious person, may even be a god sister for the ladies, one should offer a fragrant garland to one's guru and put it around his neck, and with great joy in one's heart, welcome him into your home. Offer him a cooling drink, hope you're taking notes here, prepared with black pepper, salt, sugar, and a little camphor, to remove his fatigue of traveling. Then offer padya, water, to to wash his lotus feet, and then dry them with a very soft cotton cloth with the utmost care. After offering him fragrant oil, one should offer flowers to that person's lotus feet and then offer them a lamp. After this, one should offer cooked prasad of the Lord to the Guru and give him a donation from one's heart. I just love this. One who follows this vidhi, or procedure, which is called Padravani, will get a chance to welcome Radha and Krishna one day in a kunja in Vrindavan. You're going to clap a lot this class. Now, further research revealed there was once a disciple of Madhavinda Puri. We know that it's Madhavinda Puri who, even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to the Vaishnava community and a little bit to the world about Braj Bhakti, the love the Brajabasis have for Krishna in Vrindavan. It wasn't so well known. Mainly it was Aishwarya Bhav in South India. So he spoke up a little bit because Madhavinda Puri knows about these things, because in the spiritual world, Madhavinda Puri is a tree. What? He's not a gopi or a gopa. He's a tree. He's a kalpavriksha tree. And all the different rasas, relationships with Krishna, like, friendship and servitorship and parenthood, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says they all serve the Madhurya Bhav, the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. In their own ways, they facilitate Radha and Krishna's loving pastimes. So Madhavinda Puri is the kalpavriksha tree. And he stands at Nidhivan, which is a very beautiful forested area near Sevakunj. And Radha and Krishna like to go there, and they joke and they laugh and they dance and they have, pastimes with their friends. It's a very deep place. So he's the tree there. He's witnessing all this. So he knows what is Braja Bhakti. And he so kindly came to the earth planet to begin introducing it. Like you go to the movies and you see, you came for a particular movie, but then they have on the screen they show the movies that are coming, 3 or 4 or 5. I don't go to movies, but my son told me. So then you see, so he introduced this idea of this deep loving relationship with Krishna. And then Mahaprabhu came and broke open the storehouse of love of Godhead. Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prem Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Guru Tushe Namo. That's what Rupa Goswami said. Who was this incarnation coming into the village at Ramkeli? He's even more special than Krishna. Why? Because he's coming and he's giving to the most fallen people, Kalod Sudra Sambhavan, the opportunity to attain Goloka Vrindavan, be part of Radha and Krishna's pastimes. So it's a special, very deep subject matter. But Madhavinda Puri, he had a disciple named, appropriately, Rasik Das. His disciple is Rasik Das, who used to live next to the Jamuna River. Now this Rasik Das, he was a farmer. And during the day, he would work very hard for his family. But at nighttime, Guru Maharaj would give class. They'd have kirtan like we do, and they have class. This is the standard process that Mahaprabhu introduced. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shangopanga Shabarshadam Yagnai Sankirtan Praya Yajantihi Shumeda Saha. You all come together. And you have a class on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then Bibi Govinda Maharaj sings and melts our hearts. And then the cooks come and we get prasadam. This is what we do. This is the essence. So Madhavinda Puri, he'd give class every night after everybody had finished the work. So this devotee, Rasik Das, he had to cross, when it was dark, he'd have to cross over the river Jamuna to meet his guru. And Madhavinda Puri, he liked to stay at Yatipur, near Govardhan Hill. And so this disciple would come, and they'd have their programs for many hours. So Rasik Das, he also became a Vaishnava poet. Actually, Nectar Devotion, it mentions one of the 25 qualities of a devotee is that they become poets. And you can hear it in the offerings. Everyone wrote very eloquently, very good English, even if their mother tongue was Russian. And they spoke in a very poetic way, which isn't it touched our hearts. One sadhu, he said, what is the use of a bowman's arrow unless it can pierce the heart of his foe? In the same way, he said, what is the use of a poet's poetry unless it can pierce the heart and melt the heart with his words? So beautiful. So these poets, they know how to summarize Krishna consciousness, and such eloquence is truth spoken concisely. When they speak, everyone goes, Krishna. Right? Like that. So Rasik Das, he was a farmer, but he became an elevated devotee. And he wrote a poem about his experience when he went to Guru Maharaj's darshan. He wrote, when our Guru comes from Aniyor to Yatipur in the evening, we welcome him by performing dances. Just like we had this dance here. I couldn't, I'm a tough guy, I'm a Marine, America's best fighting unit. I was trained in urban guerrilla warfare. We're tough, you never cry. I cry like a baby. It was so sweet. Let's give these girls a wonderful round of applause. I want the soundtrack. I'm going to wake up to it every morning. So he said, when our Guru comes from Aniyor to Yatipur, just to hear these places makes your hair standing on it. When he comes from Aniyor to Yatipur in the evening, we welcome him by performing various dances. And after that, he gives the nectar of Krishna Katha, which makes us intoxicated with love of Krishna. That will come someday. When I see my spiritual master singing the names and glories of Sri Gopal, the Lord himself comes and dances in kirtan. I swear by it. How blessed we are to be with our spiritual master. But being the devotee that he was, Rasik Das also had words of glorification for his godbrothers and godsisters, like Mother Vishesha, Mère Vishesha. She spoke so nicely about me. She said she's known me for so many years, and I could also speak such words of glorification for her as well. Let's give her applause as well. Narottam said, Hari, Guru, Vaishnava. These are the three entities that are our heart and soul. Krishna, our spiritual masters, and the Vaishnavas. Each one is of equal importance, but you can't achieve the other without the mercy of the first one. So Rasik Das, he had nice words of glorification for his godbrothers and godsisters. He wrote about their association. He wrote, oh, when will they, my godbrothers and godsisters, meet with me? Only by taking shelter in their names, all ignorance is vanished, and I feel bliss and happiness. Whoever falls in love with them, Lord Giriraj will roam behind them. Wow. Because Krishna loves it when his devotees are glorified. He loves it even more than when he's glorified. So this devotee says, only by taking shelter in the names of my godbrothers and godsisters, all ignorance is vanquished. And I feel bliss and happiness. Whoever falls in love with them, my godbrothers and godsisters, Giriraj will roam behind that person. Wow. Then he concludes, whoever gets the association of such souls is most fortunate. Now, further research. This is what you do when you get older. You can't go in those 6-hour harinams that Vishesha was mentioning. We're in one place and we're going through the scriptures. Our Shastras say that when the spiritual master comes to the house of the disciple, the Lord protects such disciples from all sorts of miseries and problems, and he stands guard at the door of that home to protect the disciples from the Yamadutas. Now, many times I get invitations when I come to a community. I was recently at New Brajadam in Hungary, I got maybe 5, 6 invitations a day for lunch. I did put a little weight on, because I did speak about this on my arrival, how when the spiritual master comes to the house of a disciple, the Lord protects those disciples, those householder disciples, from all sorts of miseries and problems. And he stands at the door of that house to protect the disciples from the Yamadutas. Then when I said that, I had 25 invitations a day. And don't think that the glories of the Lord, we hear this when we're talking about the holy names, they're exaggeration. There's no exaggeration. The exaggeration is that, materialistic people will think the exaggeration is, you can be happy here. That's an exaggeration. You can't be perfectly happy in this world. But in devotional service, you can't glorify it enough. This is not an exaggeration. The Lord will come, stand guard. If the Yamadutas come, it's time for that devotee to leave. No way. No way. You're not getting in here. You leave him alone. This Krishna consciousness is so nice. It's also written that walking in the welcoming procession for the Guru, just like when I came, you escorted me in here. Just see how detailed our scriptures are. Walking in the procession that's welcoming the Guru. How many of you were in that procession? Okay, now listen to the benefit you got. Walking in the welcoming procession of the Guru destroys the grievous sins of 42 previous lifetimes. Should I make another entry? But get this, you're all going to benefit from this one. One who dances in front of the spiritual master upon his arrival will never dance again in front of the material energy of the Lord called Maya. God bless you. And you're all liberated souls. So this is teaching us that, not just our Guru, but anyone who Vaishnava actually thinks everyone's more advanced than him or her. This is the Trinada peace in Ichana. Devotee is very humble. He knows his heart and he sees the glories of others. He doesn't see their faults. Just like Krishna may see your faults and you have to correct them. Lord Chaitanya, he doesn't accept mistakes. He only accepts seva. That's why Mahaprabhu, it's so necessary he comes in Kali Yuga. We're actually Gora Bhaktas. Literally, we cannot approach Radha and Krishna without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And we can't approach Lord Chaitanya without the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And you can't get the mercy of Lord Nityananda unless you do like him and go out and preach on Oxford Street to the Jagais and Madhais. So any guest, therefore, I'm only going to invite my Guru. No. You invite anyone to your home. That's part of our philosophy. It is said, Atiti Devo Bhava. Atiti Devo Bhava. The guest is as good as God. Now, I was reading in Krishna's kingdom in Dwarka, it was described that if a Brahmana came to visit Dwarka, Krishna would send his guards to receive him. Lord has, that's his Aishvarya Bhav. He's a king. He likes that mood, and the devotees like him in that mood. They're Vaikunthavasi, that's fine. So whenever a Brahmana, just a humble Brahmana, with a loincloth and japa bag, water pot, I'm going to Dwarka to see Lord Krishna. As soon as that humble Brahmana came into Dwarka, Krishna sent his guards. You go welcome him. And as we all know, Krishna even welcomed his own friend, who studied with him in the Gurukul. His name was Sudama. He was from a poor Brahmin family, and when Krishna heard that Sudama was coming to visit him, I was reading, Krishna ran at the speed of the wind to welcome him. We hear in Krishna book, right, about something. I didn't know Krishna ran like the wind. Just like we say, we're running behind our spiritual master, chanting, Krishna, Krishna. So Krishna is running to his devotee, my devotee, my devotee. This is love. This is what we have to look forward to, have to qualify ourselves. So not only that, but remember he placed Sudama on his royal seat, and in front of the whole court, he washed his feet, Sudama's feet, with what? His tears. It is said that from one side, Rukmini, one of the principal queens, she was, because its husband and wife often receive their Brahmins like this, Rukmini was pouring water on Sudama's feet with a special water pot that it had 5 holes, like 5 streams came out at one time. Big water pot she had, a big spout, like, you water your plants in the spring. It had 5 streams coming out. But Krishna's tears were more than that of the 5-streamed water pot out of love for Sudama. That water pot's called a Panch Mukhi Kalash. But Krishna's eyes, they poured more tears for his devotees. I was also reading that in Treta Yuga, I was actually reading in Ramayana, that whenever a highly advanced Brahmin or a Vaishnava would visit a king, the king would stand down. He'd place the sadhu on his own royal seat and wash his feet with his own hands. This is our tradition. We shouldn't be shy, and neither should we be shy to receive the service. It's very hard for me to sit there when someone's washing my feet, especially when there's a big Vyasapuja. They use ghee, honey, yogurt. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you just make that with the feast. But just like we have a teacher in school, I know in Poland at the end of the year, the Polish devotees can confirm this, end of the year, before you leave school, you bring a big bunch of flowers to your teachers and you say, Dziękuję bardzo, for that knowledge they've given, because we need even material knowledge to get by in life. What to speak of someone gives us the jewel of transcendental knowledge? How much indebted? The spiritual master gives us knowledge by which we go from darkness to light, from ignorance to truth, from London to Goloka. So we want to express, that's why we do that, but the Guru has to be very humble and not accept any of that respect for himself, because he's only the creation of his own spiritual master. In my case, Srila Prabhupada. So whatever you were offering, in my mind, I was taking it, even this, and I'd offer it to Prabhupada in my mind. And then Prabhupada offers it to his Guru, and finally the Adi Guru, Krishna, up in Goloka. Oh, very nice. Thank them down there in that school in London today. I'd like these little flowers. And this is our culture. In mundane society, ni maître ni Dieu. C'est le bon français, oui? Ni maître ni Dieu. No master, no God. I did Sankirtan. I only knew a few lines of French for 15 years. I'd sell books. Out of compassion, they'd take a book, the poor American boy, But somebody want to talk about God, there's no God. Ni maître ni Dieu. No master, no God. They don't know the bliss of serving a glorious spiritual master. We want to be there as an atom at his lotus feet, because that's where we're meant to be, serving Hari Guru and Vaishnava. They don't know. Only when you come to Krishna consciousness, you begin to test what it's like to be a servant, because you can't be more than a servant. Krishna is the supreme Purusha, the supreme male. Everyone else is female in relationship to Krishna. We are meant to be servants. We taste that by serving the Vaishnavas, by serving our spiritual master, and serving our deities. It's so nice to be the servant of a glorious master. One time Prabhupada was walking on the beach in Mumbai, and he saw the dogs, scrummaging through the garbage. And he saw another dog, on a leash. He was all fluffy and bright eyes and wagging his tail and yum, yum, yum. So Prabhupada said, what's the difference between these 2 dogs? One devotee said, one's brown and one's white. Prabhupada said, no. The difference is these dogs are miserable over here. This dog's happy because he has a master. And we have a master, and we have our dog collars. We know the bliss of that. So the kings, knowing this, the benefit of sadhus coming to their kingdom, in the olden days in Rajasthan, the kings used to have Chatura Nani Sena. Say this word, Chatura Nani Sena. It means 4 armies. Wow, it must be pretty powerful. They got 4 armies. Yeah, but literally these 4 armies were sent to receive the sadhu, the little sadhu with bare feet and a lungi and a beads in his water pot. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Madhukare, Maya. One chapati, please. Oh, thank you, Krishna bless you. But they have the real opulence. It said that the opulence of night is the moon. The opulence of a kingdom is a pious king. The opulence of the home is a beautiful and chaste wife. But knowledge is the opulence of everything. That's why we have class at least 2 times a day. So the king said, hey, Raj, vive le roi. What? There's a little humble sadhu coming out of the van, out of the forest. He would send these 4 armies to receive him. You know what these armies were? An army of elephants, an army of horses, an army of camels, and an army of chariots. Baba, welcome. Get on the chariot. No. I ain't walking my feet. Here, get on the horse. No. I'm on my feet. But these are signs of royalty, to have army of horses, army of camel, army, to welcome the sadhu. One sadhu. And people used to come from everywhere to witness this event. You know, the army of chariots here, army of horses, elephants. Everybody goes, whoa, who's the sadhu? And they put the sadhu down in Krishna Katha. That was the gift, the blessed gift of Krishna Katha. So in Vrindavan, it's a little different because Vrindavan's a village and it's meant to be like that. It's not like a great metropolis. It's not like Dwarka. So the greetings in Braj I've seen take on a little bit of a different form because of the natural humility of the sadhus. So the welcoming is done not with 4 armies. Hey, where's my chariots? I'm a sadhu. Where's the horses? No, not like that. We're very humble. So the welcoming is done with 3 things: sweet words, garlands, and delicious prasadam. I'm also hungry, Prabhupada. No, I'm not going to talk too long. In Braj, really, I've seen welcoming means feeding. And I asked Shiva Ramaraj, I asked him one time, I said, so you've read Chaitanya Charitamrita 3 times? Yes. So what's the biggest impression you get from reading about the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya? Like Prabhupada summarized the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in that book. It's a summary of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So I said, Maharaj, 3 times. So what stays in your mind the most? There's so much leelas, there's so much rasa, there's so much instructions. Like what stays in your mind after? He said, how much prasadam Lord Chaitanya ate? It's true. If you read how many invitations he would accept as part of that culture. So in Braj, in Vrindavan, just to let you know, welcoming means feeding. There's a famous saying in Braj that welcoming a guru or a sadhu is incomplete without giving them 6 different tastes of food to their full satisfaction. You have to cook in such a way there's 6 different tastes, so they had to get 6 different tastes and that they're satisfied. And I was reading also that previously, because I like to think of old Braj, not the metropolis it's becoming and the businesses. And what was it like, hundreds of years ago? So previously in Vrindavan, when an elevated sadhu would arrive, people would put mushtaka. Mushtaka means a soft type of dough made from flour on his eyelids to protect him from the evil eyes of envious persons who may have gazed at him on his journey. So, my dear disciples, you don't have to do that next time I come. Chapati dough on my eyes. But isn't it interesting? A lot of these traditions have gone, and that it's part of our culture. It's be nice to revive them. We'll do that for Shiva Ramaraj when he comes. So in conclusion, there are a few welcomings that are extremely famous in our Vedic culture, which I'll leave you with. And they are the welcoming of Uddhava, when he came to Vrindavan with the message of Krishna for the gopis. We could speak on that for hours. There's a welcoming of Lord Ramachandra and Sita to Ayodhya after killing the Asura Ravana, Diwali. That's what Diwali actually is. It's a festival of lights, but welcoming Ram and Sita back. The welcoming of Krishna by the Dwarkavasis after winning the battle of the Mahabharat. That's a very famous welcoming. And the welcoming of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the Brajavasis in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the welcoming. Just some tips. And those of you who are disciples of other gurus, you can take this to heart and, make a grand reception for them in this way. Just be careful with the chapati dough. It doesn't stick on the eyelids. Okay? And thank you again for all your loving sentiments. I love you more than you'll ever know. Really, I do. Thank you. Hare Krishna. All right.